Good evening, everyone. I hope you're having a good time so far. I just want to say that we've been talking about the number of people coming tonight for a week, but it's not till you're standing up in front of all of you that it's really hitting us. So thank you all for being here. And Dave, thank you for sharing your personal story. So my role tonight is to tell you the Michigan autism story. And we will do that starting in 2009. It's 10 years, and we're going to start at chapter 1. Back in 2009, and by the way, I'm going to throw a few numbers and statistics, which I'm sure you're not excited about after a few drinks, but I'm going to try and move quickly. In 2009, only 1 out of 110 people were diagnosed with autism. Today, that number is 1 in 59. So you can see that the increase is substantial, and we are now looking at 50 to 60,000 more individuals in Michigan with autism. And I've learned to look at this number a little bit differently because we all sort of gasp when the new statistics come out. But what we know is that it's also a reflection of progress in terms of identifying and earlier identification. But identification only matters if you can access services. In 2009, our estimates show roughly less than 100 children were able to get into the therapies that we know change lives. Today, that number is over 12,000. Thank you to our Lieutenant Governor, Randy Richardville, Dave, and again, our governor now, for having moved that legislation. I describe it as the gift that keeps on giving, because once we get our kids in, we've changed their path. They will need fewer special education resources. They will be more employable. They will live independently. So it was substantial, but we have a long way to go. We need to get our adults covered. So what else was happening in 2009? We talked about the number of first responders. Back in 2009, a single police department was trained to interact with this population. Today, over 25,000 in every region of our state. These first responders know what to do when they encounter a person on the spectrum. And we all know that without that background, the way these incidents can go south quickly. Speaking of safety, I'm sure many of you are not aware that 49% of this population wander from safety and their caregivers. It's a pretty staggering statistic. And back in 2009, it was not even on our radar. It wasn't until 2012 when we learned of a 12-year-old boy who was hit by a car and lost his life when he wandered from home. And I hadn't planned this tonight, but felt we can't celebrate 10 years without recognizing 2 of the bravest people that I know. So Anne and Mike Taglione, will you please stand up? Their son, Sean, who lost his life, was the impetus for our scholarship program. And I think they're in the back, so hopefully we'll be able to. But Anne came to us in a very short period after Sean had passed and told us, you have to do this. We have to protect other children. Others shouldn't suffer this way. And we literally dropped everything in 2012 when everything in autism was happening. And we created a scholarship program, and that scholarship program has been funded by a couple of very generous groups in this room. One is the Catalyst Club. And Sergio, I think you are in the audience as well with your group. Just a shout out to them. They raised $90,000 for us this year. And also, for the 4th year in a row, a shout out to University of Michigan sororities and fraternities led by Alpha Sigma Phi, and a group of them are in the back. These are incredible young men that broke their record. Broke the record this year at $120,000, so we're quite proud, and my son is part of that, so great job, Tom. And the more recent chapters of our story bring us to employment. We've talked a little bit, Dave made mention of some of the challenges right now around getting people into jobs. We currently have placed 150 people and are very proud of our retention rate at 96%, meaning they have been there for 6 months to a year to 2 years. So all good. So it's all impressive, and thank you for the applause, but thanks go to an incredibly passionate, generous board. I'm thankful to them every day. My leadership team, our program staff, development staff, our volunteers, our service providers, many of them are in the back of the room there and have been great partners over the years. We have a lot to do, and the next 10 years are really critical. I do want to, back a slide, sorry, we were so coordinated. I do want to just quickly recognize my board members, if they could just raise a hand, stand up, so you all see them. Many of the men of the blue ties. The room's so big. I'm lucky to work with visionaries because we have hefty goals going into 2029. We can't do this without your support, without our board, our staff. A big shout out to my husband as well, who supports me every day so that I can come to work and do this. Dave, I think you're over at a table here, so I have to get a shout out to him. But let us look ahead to this next chapter. Our goals would include every person will be accepted and included in our communities. Children will be diagnosed before the age of 2 years, regardless of where they live or their socioeconomic status. Families will know how to navigate the complex systems of care. Special education will result in college and career success. Employment rate for people with autism will equal that of the general population. And finally, individuals will be able to choose where they live with the supports they need to meet their full potential. Thank you again for being here tonight. Enjoy your dinner, and I know you'll be there for the next 10 years.